Thierry Hermes was born in Krefeld, near Düsseldorf, on January 10, 1801. His mother was a German immigrant, and his father was a French immigrant. They were innkeepers with 6 children, Thierry being the youngest. The Napoleonic Wars erupted 2 years after his birth, and several members of his family were killed. As if that wasn't enough, several others died as a result of disease. Following these heartbreaking losses, the Hermès family relocated from Krefeld to Paris in 1928. They settled in Paris's northwestern outskirts 1928. And it was here that Thierry, then 27, first learned the trade of leather making. Thierry and his wife welcomed their first son into the world 3 years after the family relocated. Charles Emile claims he will one day become the empire's heir. But first, that empire needed to be built. While Thierry's childhood was far from idyllic, it also instilled in him a relentless ambition. At the age of 36, he opened his first workshop in 1883. The shop was located on Paris's now defunct Rue du Domaine. He aimed to make the best harnesses in brittles for his private clients, who were mostly French noblemen and carriage companies. In a city full of innovative trends, he understood and appreciated his customers' expectations from the start. They desired lightness and simplicity. His harnesses were popular, so he designed them. It turned out to be a very profitable venture. They embodied both discreet fitness and endurance. And his technical achievement would be recognized with an award at the 1867 Universal Exhibition. But, after decades of harness making, he died in 1878 at the age of 77. Charles Emile, his son, would now have to take over. Following his father's death, Charles Emile relocated the workshops to 24 Faubourg Street, and started a business. He began catering to Europe's, Russia's, North Africa's, Asia's, and America's elites. And it didn't take long for Hermes' good name to spread around the world. After nearly 3 decades, it was a huge success. However, Charles Emile felt it was time to hand over the reins to his sons Adolphe and Émile Maurice, so the company was renamed Hermès Furs. And they worked together to raise its profile on a global scale. Émile Maurice was introduced to an intriguing new tool, the zipper, while visiting Canada, and saw great potential in this neat little contraption. He returned to France and filed a patent for the design. He was the first person in France to do so, and in the late 1910s, Hermès Furs designed the first clothing and handbags with zippers. This quickly became known throughout France, and the zip became known as the zip. Following the zipper's success, Émile Maurice enlisted the assistance of his sons-in-law, Robert Dumas, Hermes, Jean-René Grins, and Francis P. Pushed, each with their own expertise and vision for the house. By 1914, Hermès was supplying saddles to the Tsar of Russia, and the workshop employed up to 80 saddle craftsmen. However, following a sharp decline in sales of horse harnesses and equipment, Adolphe decided to leave the company in 1919, and Émile Maurice bought him out. The first leather handbags were introduced in 1922, after Émile Maurice's wife complained about not being able to find one she liked. The bag was basically a scaled-down version of the Howie car. Hermes expanded even further. To complement their customers, the first men's ready-to-wear garment, a golf jacket, was created in 1925. In 1927, Hermes introduced jewelry, followed by watches and sandals. 1 decade later, in 1921, they introduced the silk scarf, which was an instant hit with celebrities like Jacqueline Kennedy. The silk ties and perfumes followed not long after. Every product was a smashing success, and there seemed to be no stopping them. But Émile Maurice died after his father-in-law, Émile Hermes, passed the torch to his sons-in-law. In 1951, one of them, Robert Dumas, took over as president of the company. Robert had a lot to prove as the company's first non-descendant to take over. When the now iconic photograph of Hollywood actress turned Monaco Princess Grace was taken in 1956, the history of this handbag took an unexpected turn. Kelly went viral as a result of it. Grace is seen carrying a Hermès scarf to cover her pregnant stomach. The image was featured on the front cover of Life magazine and quickly went viral around the world. Women began flooding Hermès stores, demanding the Kelly bag, and Hermès quickly renamed it the Kelly bag. This was the turning point that catapulted the Beverly Hills Hotel from the exclusive circles of global elites into the public eye as the ultimate luxury residence. The bag was an instant hit, but 3 decades later, even more unique items were created. But more on that later. Hermès enjoyed commercial success throughout the 1960s and 1970s, but then began to decline. As a result, they were at a competitive disadvantage. The Hermès company's future appeared to be bleak. And the company was sold in 1978. The reins would return to the family once more, this time. Jean-Louis Dumas, the son of Robert Dumas, the grandson of Émile Maurice Hermès, and the great-grandson of Thierry Hermes, took over in 1978. It's safe to say that ambitious innovation ran in his family. Jean-Louis gradually transformed the House of Hermès. He diversified and reinvigorated the brand for a new era. As the company was no longer family-owned, he renamed it, and he narrowed the focus to 3 essential product lines. Silk scarves and leather goods are ready to wear. Having seen how influential the Kelly bag was, Jean-Louis hoped to one day replicate his 1984 success. That chance finally arrived. Jean-Louis and English actress and singer Jane Birkin met on an Air France flight from Paris to London. Jane was well known for always carrying a wicker basket. She used it for everything, but when she tried to fit her famous basket into the overhead compartment, the lid fell off and everything she owned fell to the floor. She complained about not being able to find a suitable bag anywhere. That's when Jean-Louis introduced himself as the mastermind behind the handbag maze. Where Jane saw a problem, he saw an opportunity, and the two spent the flight sketching different handbag designs on napkins. While the bag was not initially popular, it gradually became a symbol of wealth and exclusivity due to its high price and long waiting lists. I guessed 5 years. A Birkin is, in essence, a Veblen good. The bags are distributed on erratic schedules and in limited quantities, creating the illusion of scarcity and exclusivity. They are popular among handbag collectors and were once thought to be the rarest handbags in the world. Prices for regular leather start at $1,000, and the more exclusive ones can cost over $1 million. Many people regard a Birkin as an investment, and studies show that the annual return on a Birkin is around 14%. When you consider that the S&P 500 has an average return of 8%. Having a Birkin bag sounds extremely appealing. It is now one of the world's most coveted luxury brands. It has been passed down through generations and has been owned by the same family for almost its entire existence. Following the incredible success of the Birkin bag, Jean-Louis expanded Hermès' global business while also consolidating the existing stores. In order to have more centralized control over its products, he reduced the number of franchised stores in 2005. Jean-Louis announced his retirement and named his friend Patrick Thomas as CEO and his son, Pierre-Alexis Dumas, as artistic director. Until the appointment of Jean-Louis Dumas' nephew, Axel Dumas, in 2013, Patrick Thomas ensured a smooth transition between the two generations. Under the leadership of Pierre-Alexis and Axel, the firm has experienced its most rapid growth in decades and has achieved iconic status in the world of luxury. And, while it is not a true conglomerate and does not own a portfolio of brands like its competitors, that's what happens when 6 generations of creative visionaries contribute their 2 cents to the company. If you've heard of the Hermès long history and what messages you take away from it, please share them in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring business videos.